Love to hear it.
Hey guys,
can we change your intro? No, I'm tired of hearing that song. Maybe at some point I need to write a new song. I know we've had a couple of people ask to write a new song. But,
people keep begging us, like, please let me redo that song for you guys.
Maybe it could be because I was looking at the Boy Meets World background because we're going to be talking about a little bit of Topanga Lawrence on this pod today. And as I was looking at that background, I had the Friends theme song running through my head, which I think is a funny broken brain. Yeah. Where you see that and you're like, I love Boy Meets World. Boy Meets World. But anyway.
Speaking of theme songs, though, Boy Meets World has some good ones. They went through like a couple different versions, like the early ones, and then there was Boy Meets World, Boy Meets World, but walking down this road that we call life.
Did they change the song?
There used to be a different one. They had like a couple different like eras. They had like their elementary school era, then they had their high school era, then they went to college. You know, that was a great time. So I think they kind of changed things up depending on their kind of their
And the show is back now, right?
Yeah, there was a Girl Meets World season. I don't know if it's still on, but you know what's crazy? This is a true story. I met Topanga and Corey.
Oh.
Why, you may ask? Because they were having a Girl Meets World meet and greet in Pasadena, and I decided to wait in line. Yeah. Wow. I waited in line for like 3 hours.
Oh.
And tail ends, they
always wondered who those people were. I always wondered who those people were.
It's me. And I did it like the first week I started working at Deutsch. And I met Sam Schneiderman there.
What? Are you for real?
Yes. She was in line to see Topanga and Corey too. So I'm like, clearly this is a friend of mine. And I'm like, we're going to be friends.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Colossal dorks.
Yeah.
You and Sam Schneiderman separately on your own by yourselves went to go see Corey.
Yes.
And then and it was like one of those moments which feels sitcom-y.
And it was like,
it's like, you love the ballet too. Whatever you do, don't tell my neighbor Rick. We lift weights together. I love the ballet, but it's private.
And then we see her, and I'm like, oh my God, Rick, you love the ballet too?
And then like in a moment where like a cat falls out of a tree, the guy like does a plie across the street through cars to save somebody's life. And he's like, it's true. I love the ballet.
I love the ballet.
And
it's great.
How did you guys get there? That was an amazing little yes and. Little improv Olympic there. That was nice.
Man. I like that.
Well, first rule is you take off your socks and you relax and you listen. Okay. Yeah.
You relax, you listen, you stretch your toes, you pay attention.
Well, that's cool. You met a dork friend at a dork convention.
Yeah.
She was probably one of the hottest chicks around. I mean,
she was. And she still is. She's really beautiful.
Yeah.
Topanga?
Yeah, Topanga. Sam Schneiderman.
Definitely one of my. Oh, it's Sam Schneiderman. Wait, who are we talking about? Are we talking about Topanga or Sam Schneiderman?
No, I was talking about Topanga, but then when you were like, "Who are we talking about?" I'm like, "Well, Sam is too." God damn it!
Sam is a beautiful woman. I agree.
Beautiful, but
beautiful inside and out.
Inside
and out. When you talk about somebody and you say somebody's beautiful inside and out, it sounds fucking.
Sounds like
gross.
they're fat. I know they sound fat.
No, it sounds like you're like talking about them in a like
in a sexual way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like her GI tract is like a sushi roll I'd like to feast off of or something.
Exactly
Wow.
like that.
Yeah, that's yes, exactly like that.
That
Anyway,
is pretty gross.
this is Did You Reddit, a weekly podcast about the internet by way of Reddit, the front page of the internet. My name is It's Your Dad.
I'm Daw Boobs.
My free day coming at you from the studio.
My free day just screaming into his mic, peaking levels left and right.
Is that loud?
That was a little bit loud.
It sounds so low on my end.
No, it's because you're wearing headphones, man.
Yeah.
You can't hear this.
Well, dude,
it's all right.
I mean, all those kids with their 22s and their tweeters. And their kaboom boxes. Expect your speakers to get blown.
That's fair. Logical. But so today we are going to. We're not talking about an original news subreddit. We are going to. This week has been a dramatic week in like not even just really Reddit news, kind of in internet news, but it's obviously seeped into Reddit. Reddit in particular has been kind of entrenched in one specifically hot topic that has gotten to Kathy and Hoda level of like kind of internet news. But and then also fucking Cinnamon Toast Crunch and Shrimp Tails, the hottest goss of the time.
And it's like blasting wide open as we speak. The story is blasting open.
And I got some finger blasting open the GI tract. I got some opinions on it because it definitely like.
Ooh, okay.
It's been an interesting. It's been interesting to watch, and we're gonna get into that out of the loop. And we're going to also, I think, I would like to go over some of the other out of the loops as well, because as I was going through this last night, I was definitely having a like, why are they talking about the tweet? And I was just like, what's this about? And I was just like, oh god, oh no, oh gross. And so I think there's some other fun out of the loops that are happening right now that I think are just worth like catching up on. I mean, this is for anybody, for the uninitiated, out of the loop is one of my favorite subreddits for a utilitarian purpose. It's very good for quite literally getting you up to speed on topics that are happening that are maybe a little bit difficult to follow. So
yes,
you're not going to get which happens often. I mean, you're not going to get like what happened in Syria. I mean, you might get that a little bit, but most of it is like, what's the deal with Cinnamon Toast Shrimp guy? Like, what's going on with everyone hating Chrissy Teigen so much? It's stuff like that. Like that's the stuff that I think is interesting about out of the loop. So yeah. Oh, and also interesting. So do you see that post, Dog?
Which is great because Shia, let me tell you, I've been following the Army Hammer thing like very closely from the very beginning. So we can dip into that too, my friend.
We have an Army insider, actually.
Yeah.
Quite frankly. So
yeah, man.
In Dog Boobs? Wow, cool. Because I was actually thinking about him yesterday.
Yeah.
And how they've done such an amazing job of sort of making his cannibalism and the fact that he was eating thousands and thousands of humans just disappear.
But it was just
Hollywood, right? What
it was just announced last week
baby.
that the Los Angeles district attorney is investigating him for rape.
I saw that.
Oh, cool.
So I thought it was all going to go away too, and then this happened, and I was like, "Sweet, okay."
It didn't seem that bad. It just seemed like a kink, but
What do I always say? I say stop kink shaming cannibalistic rape fantasies. I say it every time on this pod.
Keep it a fantasy, Army. Keep it a fantasy. Don't bring it into the real world. That's where you went wrong.
It's Your Dad famously was out there defending cannibalistic rapers about 6 pods ago, which will not age well.
There's a resume. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know. I mean, this is that it's fun how we do a not safe for work episode and we're like, man, we're gonna get booted from Twitch immediately, and then we do out of the loop and we're like, we're in the clear. This is gonna be no problem. Everything's gonna be fine. And then we immediately get booted because we talk about
we can't
talk
stop
about recto finger blasting. Which is what Shiloh Douche evidently has got the hot tip on the Army Hammer thing.
Now
really
I
quickly,
need to look up.
So there isn't any like isolated audio moments. I do not condone cannibalistic rape fantasies. I don't think that's a good idea. So just to make sure that that's very clear.
I don't know, man. I
kidding.
saw you out there with a poster. It was pretty 100% sure. Charlotte Douche might actually be Army Hammer. People are saying that. By people, I mean me on this pod. So
well, he's a pod pal. I mean, he's been listening ever since season 1 of that show he was on.
Season 1 of
that
Friends.
I totally know because I watched television.
I watched TV.
Army Hammer, what has he even fucking been in? Which Marvel franchise has he been in? Come on.
Army Hammer's been
Are we
in
even talking about this guy? Come on.
The Man from Uncle.
He kissed Timothy Chalamet.
Yes.
On the ranch.
Oh,
that's
really?
That's a big thing. He's on the ranch.
That was his mountain gay movie. The one with the Heath Ledger. Yeah. It was his Brokeback.
It was like the coastal Italian version of
Brokeback.
Right.
Yeah, it was like, hey, give me my horse, and let's kiss.
Yeah,
it was like very much
basically
that was it.
So that's
the
why
Lone Ranger. Damn,
he was the Lone Ranger.
He's a shit actor. Like, he's terrible. Let's be honest.
Oh,
But
his big break
he's
was
like
the Facebook.
He's like 6'6", so.
And white, which we all love.
Yeah, which is like leading man material. But you can tell he never became a leading man because everybody knew he was weird.
He was the Winklevi. That was his big break. Yeah.
Damn.
True that.
All right. Well, maybe I do kind of know him, but I don't really know him. Anyway, all right. So why don't we just get into it? Why don't we start talking about Out of the Fucking Loop, guys?
Talk about it.
Right, so why don't we start with, I mean, what I would say, and should we talk about the Reddit gossip from this past week about the person who got fired? I feel like we can't not talk about it because it was a huge deal. And like all of Reddit basically shut down yesterday. So I'm just going to pull this one up so we can, this is a complex story. So I don't know. I'm not particularly inclined to get overly into it. Just because quite frankly, I don't really understand it to its full extent, but
I tried reading the article you sent like 3 times.
Yeah.
And I found myself getting really confused at some of the I guess sort of like cultural language, and you have to know a lot to understand what's happening in culture and language.
Yeah. So what basically happened? Let's see. So there's a multitude of questions. So why has r/blank gone private? That was like the thing, and then it links you out to another post that says, "What's the deal with r/UK politics going private and making a sticky about a new admin who can't be named or you will be banned?" Right. So that was posted 2 days ago, and it had 23,000 votes. It was hot goss.
Wow.
And so Amy Challenor is her name.
His name. It's they identify as male.
I thought they identified as
them. Oh, they identify. Gender non-conforming biological male identifies as transgender, uses they them pronouns.
There we go.
That article says he. The one we read. Right. This is where I get basically confused and start acting like a grandpa. I go, wait, what?
What?
How's this work?
Right. So here is what evidently happened. Welcome back. Subreddit statement. So we have issued a news statement. So we're going to read the statement from UK Politics. So we welcome Reddit statement. So Reddit statement was posted yesterday, which I can read as well. To kind of get into the very, very brief of it. So Amy Challenor, they evidently were a pretty significant mod on a subreddit. I'm not sure what subreddit is my understanding, and I could again, like we're not the experts here, but I'm just kind of recapping this a little bit, and we're going to read some of the posts that kind of align with it as well. But they were a mod. They got hired by Reddit to work officially at Reddit, and then I mean, I guess it's not really allegations at this point. It's like a real thing that her father was a pedophile and like was a convicted pedophile of some pretty gnarly stuff. And so she had hired him to be a part of her team on something, and then when the Reddit Reddit has a very hard anti-pedophilia stance, of course. So there was, a
controversial,
very controversial stance. So Reddit, in hiring them, this is complicated because I'm trying to remember pronouns while also trying to remember the story.
Right.
And so Reddit, while hiring them, they didn't do their research on that, and then everybody was like, "Yo, this is well documented. You fucking scumbags! You can't have these people on your board, right?" And then, and then they, as of yesterday, they got fired. But yesterday, in an act of protest, a bunch of subreddits all went private, so that they, quite literally just as like a community protest around the supposed endorsement of pedophilia, which I think was a little complicated because I don't know, like it's a bit of an odd, if it was her father, that's not like choosing to be associated with somebody necessarily, but they did hire him for something, so it's all a little bit crazy. But that is kind of like the very, very high level version of it, right? So Reddit's statement, on the UK politics subreddit, which I think is where everything came from, this person's from the UK. We welcome Reddit's statement where they acknowledge that the suspension of our subreddit moderator was not handled correctly. So the suspension of our subreddit moderator. So I think the person was a subreddit moderator for UK politics. We also acknowledge that they admitted their error and overturned the suspension once the reality of this situation was explained to them. We are eager to hear what additional checks, balance, and safeguarding measures will be put in place going forward to ensure that this situation does not happen again. Redditors, moderators, subreddits, administrators should be protected against harassment in equal measure. We remain concerned that some of these issues have not been fully addressed. We respect the new policies. We respect that new policies cannot be put in place overnight, but equally, these policies should have been have been in place years ago. Normal service will return to UK politics. So Reddit's statement, which actually might be different than what I assumed it was actually. Okay, so an update on the recent issues surrounding Reddit employees. So this was posted 16 hours ago.
Hold on, just before you read this one, to clarify what she did, she nominated. I'm just going to say Amy. Amy.
Yeah.
It's weird. This article I read that you sent says he.
People are messing up their pronouns on articles too.
Okay, cool. Amy, spelled with a fucking I. AIMEE. That's the real story here. Don't bury the lead. What the heck, dude? What an idiot. Yeah, her dad. That's when you knew her dad had big problems, when he named her Amy with an I. That's when they should have said, okay, let's check this guy for animal fuckery. So Amy nominated her father as her election agent, which is a thing in the UK that when you run for a political party, you need an election agent. And so that's what she did, and that's what started. And then when they uncovered who he was, I guess in politics, that's when the story came to light, which didn't have anything to do specifically with Reddit. So it was like you have a relationship to somebody who's terrible and it's going to affect your employment. I think that's what's interesting about the story to me.
So let's tell you what the dad did, because I don't think we actually said it yet. So he sexually assaulted a child in their attic.
10-year-old or something, right? It was actually like
a 10-year-old kid. So he's a pedophile sex offender. And it sounds like Amy chose to elect him as their election agent, almost like as a way of like forgiving and moving on, perhaps.
Right.
But
it's
that
like
really disturbed a shit ton of people, because they were like, okay, he's a rapist. So
it's like when you turn pro and your father hasn't been in the picture your whole life, and then he shows up when you sign a $30 million contract, and you buy him a Z71. You're like, here, Have a
You're like,
Z7
here,
lunch.
shut up. Never ask me for
And then
something.
people are like, your
fantastic.
dad killed 14 people. You're like, I don't know. I'm just trying
Listen, I'm trying to get him off my back.
I'm trying to sleep at night,
Right.
man. I got a weird family, dude. I just trying to make it all normal.
Yeah. And it's like, if you've been raised by someone like that, or even have like someone like that is your father, even if, you know, they weren't that had a huge hand in raising you. I mean, that's got to fuck you up a little bit.
Right.
It's confusing.
It
Yeah.
would be confusing.
Well, I mean, also, I mean, this is where I'm a little like, I don't know if sympathetic to them is the right word, but I'm kind of like, my logic is kind of
By
like,
them, do you mean Amy?
That I mean Amy, which also, by the way, in the Reddit
them as a group
statement,
of people, I thought, man.
yeah, but in the Reddit statement they call them her, so I don't fucking
Yeah.
know. I'm just
Everybody's
trying to be
fucking
sensitive
it
to
up.
pronouns.
I think
But anyway,
AI is the best way to call her AI. Because it's Amy. I'm
Amy.
That's how you say
But
it
I
in
think-
Gaelic.
I think that
Amy.
there's like your dad. I mean, this is like, again, it's different if it was your friend, but because it's her dad, I'm a little bit like, man, that's kind of complicated. Like, this is your fucking biological. This is your blood. You know,
Yeah. Like there's
it's not really.
It's understandable that there might be some psychological hold, you know, that
Right.
maybe he still has on them, you know, like it's,
Or they,
I don't know.
or they love. I mean, they love their dad. Like, yeah, it's like they're. Yeah, I mean, it's not. You know, it's like
no,
it's. I mean,
it's true.
You know,
like I remember reading this excerpt from a book written by the daughter of the BTK killer, which is like such an interesting story because like if anybody follows serial killer stuff, like know I do. He's always like a terrible serial killer who was like a Boy Scout dad and church leader and all this shit.
Real
and
piece
then
of shit. And also terrible. Like, he was bad at being a serial killer. Like, his poems were bad. He's just an idiot.
His drawings were really lame. Like, he just sucks.
That's why you got to be questionable people who volunteer for young youth in in the youth space. You got to assume they're all
question it. They might be serial killers. Okay,
they should all be dads. Like I said before, dads that don't want to be.
We live in such a cynical world. It fucking sucks, dude.
But you know what's so crazy is she talks about her dad and she says it's very confusing for her because he was a fantastic dad. Like, he was extremely hands-on. He was loving. He wasn't an absentee weirdo dad. Like, it was so devastating, obviously, like when you find out what he was actually doing during your childhood and continuing to do. So it's like, I could see how you would be very confused, you know, about what to do.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, confusion, but it's also, again, like, it's just it's a very, you know, I have friends whose parents have become homeless. I have friends whose parents were drug addicts. I have friends whose parents were, you know, like, there's a spectrum of things that happen, you know, and as we've known, I mean, from our parents, like, my dad is dead now from fucking ALS, and, like, you know, I remember when my dad was dying and my mom was with him, it was like, you know, you see your parents as like humans, right? And you kind of are like, they're not perfect, they fuck up, right? This is actually great. So Blaustein, as a survivor of CSA, do you guys mind if I throw out some hot takes on this? I would love for you to throw out hot takes on this. Because I think this is very complicated. We're not saying I personally don't think child sexual abuse. Sexual assault. But I also think that it's one of those things where I don't think there's a clear-cut answer, and this is obviously a very serious topic. It's something that happened on Reddit this past week, which I think the complexity of the situation is in itself is worth discussion from both sides. But I think that, you know, the pedophilia is just like one of those things. It is a very rightfully hot topic that makes people like it's one of the things that are most what's the take? It would be one of the things that are most like polarizing, and for good reason.
Yeah.
Right? But I just, when I first read this story, the thing that I thought of initially was like, again, it was just like, I don't know the relationship. I don't know the extent of the story, but I do know that it is her father. And that is like, and you know, families, I mean, we know people whose families have, I don't know. It's just fucking complicated. So
In
anyway,
a nutshell, yeah, Amy gets Maud gets the
Right.
dream job by hired at Reddit. Everybody who hangs out on Reddit wants to work at Reddit. So it's like you get the call
Totally.
from like the big boss.
Yeah.
Dream
like,
come
duh.
true. She gets there. They find
is
out her
sad.
father's a creep, and then she's still in business with him, and then she gets canned.
And
I mean,
like,
it's,
Right.
I think the take our wonderful
Blaustein?
listener Philip
our boy
Blaustein,
Philip J. Fry.
yeah, it's such a good point. You know,
Right.
it's like
So
supporting
why
her
don't
dad.
we read this verbatim? Yeah, because I think I know I can't pull them all up because they're kind
Yeah.
of coming in chunks, right? But I think Dog, do you want to kind of sum this up?
Yeah. So what our wonderful Blaustein is saying is, it's not great, obviously, seeing her support her dad after the fact, but the meta of dumping on her for not saying anything while things were going on, not the way to go. Chances are she may have been a victim of abuse as well, fearing for her life, etc. I've just seen a big push on Reddit calling her a pedophile or them a pedophile. While I do agree they probably didn't make the best decision after the fact, there's a push going very much in the wrong direction. I think that's a really good point. That's a fantastic detail, is that if something like that has happened like in the past and it's happened, chances are it could have happened to them too. If this guy is a predator and this is his thing, it's really hard to sit on the outside and judge this person's actions, because you have no idea what kind of victim abuser relationship might exist between them and their dad.
Totally. Yeah. And I think there's also I don't know, but this person is trans, and I think there's also maybe a little bit of transphobia happening here in a way where there is a whole world, a whole sector of conservative society that thinks that transphobia and homosexuality and deviance is part and parcel to pedophilia.
Mm-hmm.
So we know how things move on the internet. We don't know where this thing necessarily started in kind of the wave swell, but there is a world by which somebody kind of takes this and pushes the pedophilia angle on this person versus on their association with their father, right? And then by proxy of that, it becomes this unfortunate web of transphobic accusational kind of information. Again, I don't know, and I think it's very complicated, and this has been one of those this has been powerful rhetorical moments on Reddit where places are taking your take. What were you saying, Food?
Oh, so I mean, the cancel culture of it all is, I think it started on the sort of progressive left, but the conservative right has figured out that they can cancel the other way too. And so you're saying potentially this is a tactic. Yeah, I mean, why not? It's once you invent the atomic bomb, everyone wants an atomic bomb.
Yeah.
So it's it becomes a weapon, and you're saying that potentially she was the victim of a weaponization of a conservative canceling from right. I mean, it could have. I mean, it's a theory.
Yeah.
It's a theory.
Well,
It's a theory.
We break a lot of things on this pod because we have the courage to put it out there.
The courage of conviction.
Right. I don't know if it was necessarily a weaponization as much as it felt like it reminds me a little bit of the conversation around the unisex bathrooms, where that law came out and people were just like, what, you think that somebody who's trans is gonna go in, they're gonna touch my kid and be like, what? No, that's not, what are you talking about? Right. But you definitely had a little bit of that. So it's interesting.
No, that's going to be a dude who has to take a huge loader, and he's going to be like, I'm going to go in the girls' room because it's clean, it's empty, and then he's going to bomb one. It's just going to be a regular guy, and some little girl is going to see the wrong thing, and it's going to change her whole life. She'll be telling that story for the next. She'll tell that story at her wedding. She'll be like,
and you know what's so weird? I mean, do all of these conservative guys realize that it's only men's bathrooms that have the weird, super public urinals?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, well, it's 'cause
I'm sorry. I've
we
always
like
been
looking
weirded
at
out
it.
by that.
Right.
We measure each other's penises when we pee.
Yeah. Why don't I mean?
That's a
there are
standard.
a few things that I have a
Fart out loud.
problem with.
Women do not want to be in there when men are farting out loud.
This is the first thing. First thing, it's your dad and I ever talked about in our friendship was the fact that guys just rip farts at the urinal. And I was like,
It was actually
what?
how I introduced myself.
You're like,
I was
hi.
like, hey, I'm Ben. Did you guys know that men
guys
fart
rip
around
farts.
publicly in urinals? My name is Ben. Yeah, no, it's. I mean, but no, I think this is. I mean, this is a developing story. We will see how it all shakes out. It actually may have already ended. I think it was like yesterday was when Reddit officially had let this person go, right?
Yeah.
But I just think it is one of those, you know, every once in a while there will be, you know, I think it's actually kind of interesting that this and Cinnamon Toast Crunch were kind of happening at the same time, because Cinnamon Toast Crunch, which we will talk about next, the Cinnamon Toast Crunch story started so innocently and just spiraled into like crazy toxicity. And
like last night, like yesterday.
Yeah, like last night. And so I saw those two things and I was just like, wow, there's some like whatever the internet equivalent is of like fucking Venus rising or whatever is happening right now, you know? Because like it just felt like there were a couple just, you know, if you get caught in the crosshairs of those like moments of cancel culture, it's very like fucking take no prisoners kind of energy, you know?
Right.
And you know, and again, for good reason to a degree, but I mean that's the thing with this Amy Challoner one, where I'm just kind of like, you know, there's it's a complex web of accusation, not really having a platform to be honest, not really having a platform for articulating something. I mean, I don't know what their public statement was or is or could be, but you know, again, like my stance on the matter is relative ignorance, not really knowing the depths of the situation. I encourage anybody who's listening that is like unclear to explore Out of the Loop and explore, quite frankly, the internet at this point. I think a lot of people are kind of documenting it, but that's what happened was like when everybody went private this week, that was why, is they were protesting the hire of this person. But
man,
you know, to think a little bit about and read a little bit about it and try not to like pass judgment appropriately, but also don't pass judgment dogmatically. How's that for a statement?
I like it. I thought you said donkmatically for a minute, and I was like,
I'm saying pass judgment donkmatically. Don't pass judgment dogmatically, right? And what I mean by that is don't like just because a whole subreddit is suddenly saying this is our collective stance, doesn't recuse you from taking the time to understand it on your own and try to make an assessment that is sincere to the way you view the world and you know, engaging in the conversation deeper.
Right.
How's that?
Right.
How's that? Is that diplomatic? I think that works.
Hey, I think it works.
But, yeah, and I think that, you know, this is, I mean, by the way, Blaustein, for what it's worth, Blaustein, I feel like is becoming kind of our like our man, woman, or they, though I do know it's a guy, but you know, given all the conversations we're having, I do think it's worth mentioning that he fucking is an archivist, dude. Like this guy absolutely knows what's happening, and this does remind me of the Boston bomber, right, where we kind of were like, got him, we found him, this guy's the one, fella. Way to go, everybody. And then it was like cops were just like, you fucking idiots. All right, your card's revoked. You ruined somebody's life, right? Ellen Powell is another interesting situation. I mean, I think there's always moments where everybody kind of like gangs up for one reason or another, and I think it almost feels like a collective. This is kind of like my Phoenix Rising thing, like I said earlier, where there's a little bit of like a collective zeitgeist where like we all have to get out a little bit of like of energy or steam or something, and we will use somebody as a proxy. That doesn't recuse them from being problematic, obviously, but it does feel like us putting all of our energy into that one specific thing then allows for us to like get a little bit of that bad juju out of our system and throw it on somebody else as like a sacrificial lamb. But okay, so anyway, all right, so I don't like it. Free Day's like, I don't like it. I don't like it. Yeah.
Free, do you want to hit up some very pertinent information about one of our favorites?
Yeah, guys. Right. We want to talk about our oldest and newest best sponsor friend called eBay.
Oldest
you remember
and
eBay?
Newest. Yeah.
Oldest and newest at the same. Well, they're simultaneously our oldest sponsor and currently our new. So eBay, you guys know eBay, the greatest place ever. But lately, it's the place where you can find the exact shoes you're looking for. eBay is the original sneaker marketplace and the place to go to find the shoes you've been eyeballing. eBay has something called an authenticity guarantee that your sneakers are meticulously inspected by independent professional authenticators, which means a team of experienced sneaker authenticators who verify the box, the logo, the stitching, and dozens, maybe even thousands of other inspection points. I told you there's a guy that we saw who licks the bottom of every shoe before you buy it to make sure it tastes real. Each sneaker
That's actually accurate.
Yes, each sneaker also receives an authenticity guarantee. That is a word I can never spell correctly on the first time. And it gets that authenticity guarantee tag that includes a digital stamp of authenticity. It also protects sellers, the guys making the cashish with a verified return process. So you don't put your shoes in a box, send them to some dude on a ship in the middle of the ocean who will never, ever pay you back.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. So you're going to get, the seller's going to get paid and the buyer's going to get what they want. I mean, isn't that basically commerce and what we all want? So yes,
what we want.
You're going to get the goods. So for sneaker sellers out there, eBay has eliminated the fees on selling sneakers over $100, making it free to flip or sell your collection. I guess in the past, if you were trying to make that hot cheddar, sell your shoes for $1,000, eBay wanted a cut, but now it's free to sell your cheddar over $100. Pretty cool. So you're basically going to make more money. I like it. I'm listening.
I like it too. And I am currently so I'm searching on eBay as we speak, trying to make sense of what's going on. We got some I searched Cinnamon Toast Crunch sneakers, and evidently Kyrie Irving put out a pretty fucking sick looking Cinnamon Toast Crunch themed shoe.
Wow.
Years ago, which is fucking so sick. I mean, honestly, like,
and it comes in a box. It comes with a box with cereal and a bowl. Oh my God. That's the coolest marketing I've ever seen. So for all you listeners out there, the box is a box of the shoe box is a box of cereal. You open it up. There's actually cereal in it. There's a built-in bowl. It comes with a spoon. It's the color of Cinnamon Toast Crunch, and the lip of the shoe says Cinnamon Toast Crunch on it. These are freaking sweet.
So sick.
You know what?
And this is actually
this is a good galore.
Oh man!
Oh, you might be right. Actually, I mean, this is a good example of the authenticity guarantee as well, because you're seeing on these like the little authenticity guarantee at the bottom, which is fucking so.
You guys,
so
I can't even explain how fucking pissed I would be if I ordered Kyrie Irvine's Cinnamon Toast Crunch sneaker and I got a fake.
I'm picturing the fake.
Yes.
You nailed the name.
Irving. Kyrie Irving.
We love sports. You love sports. Yeah, if your shoes showed up with like a dusting of Elmer's glue and like a sprinkle of cinnamon powder on the outside, you would be unhappy.
Yes.
I would say.
Garbage.
Yeah. Oh, look at the bottom.
Sweet little boys. I mean, anyway, so these are
that's cool,
special.
Man.
Yeah,
Cool. This is a fun ad because we can pretty much always Google in what we're talking about and or eBay search and something cool comes up. So go to ebay.com/sneakers today. eBay is the world's best destination for discovering great value and unique selection. I mean, I don't know if you could say unique selection any clearer than Cinnamon Toast sneakers. So.
That is fucking factual right there.
All right. Well, anyway, so with that segue, let's get into the Cinnamon Toast Crunch story. I mean, I think this is obviously, this one is way more fun until it's not fun.
Yeah, which is like everything these days.
Which is pretty much everything these days. But all right, so Dog, you threw me your screen, right? Yes.
Yes, I did. This is a really fun. This started out as a charming, funny fucking story. Okay, this guy Jensen Karp, who is apparently a writer, a father. It says right here on the side here, only person to debate at Oxford and perform at the gathering of the Juggalos. This sounds like a guy we would like, right? This sounds like a pretty cool guy, right? Okay. Yep. So he posts a few days ago, Cinnamon Toast Crunch Squares, the official Twitter handle. Why are there shrimp tails in my cereal? This is not a bit. He posts a picture, and you guys can kind of see here what is undeniably two little shrimp tails. Okay? I mean, is there any doubt in your mind that this is a shrimp tail?
I will say the one on the left looks a little less shrimp taily than the one on the right, but that being said, I'm splitting hairs. It looks like shrimp tails.
They're shrimp tails, but yeah, I'm with you. This one is this one's undeniable. I feel like I can still see the vertebrae of the shrimp.
Yeah.
So we got shrimp tails.
That's a pretty clear picture of shrimp in Cinnamon Toast Crunch. I mean, this is breaking. Right. I'd say this is breaking news.
So,
which I think they confirmed, right? I mean, I feel like I did read an article from General Mills that said, "Hey, yeah, sorry about that. One of our employees was eating shrimp, and it got into the tails got in." It was something like that. Where we were just like, I was like, "Oh, that's totally logical."
Man, I mean, that kind of apology is really all you want, right? You're like, "Yep, somebody fucked up somewhere."
Yeah,
it's not. It's a really once in a million thing.
Really funny. So he posts this picture. He adds Cinnamon Toast Crunch. He's like, "What the fuck's going on?" Cinnamon Toast Crunch responds back. Okay, and they're like, "What the hell?" I should pull up exactly what they said because it starts to get pretty funny. And they're like, we take food safety very seriously. We're looking into this. Like, thank you for bringing it to our attention. Meanwhile, Jensen Karp goes back to look in the other box of Cinnamon Toast Crunch that his wife bought. Turns out he looks in there, more shrimp tails, what looks like rat shit, and a little piece of dental floss.
Oh. Powerful.
So that's fucking gross. So then he gets a response back from Cinnamon Toast Crunch saying, upon further inspection of that picture, those aren't shrimp tails. Those are a conglomeration of sugar that often happens at the bottom of our box of cereal.
So, I don't know about that.
Which is a good defense, except if you were not looking at the picture. Like, I guess... Like what they're saying is sometimes there are like leftover clumps of whatever that look weird, and that's what you're looking at.
Yeah, it's like, so basically he responds,
but those were clearly shrimp tails.
Yeah,
right.
And he's like, "Listen, I wasn't even pissed until you tried to gaslight me. You know, like these are shrimp tails. Like, I don't know." So he's a comedy writer. He's funny. Like, the internet's falling in love with him at this point because we love shit like this. We love seeing big cereal taken down a notch. Let's be honest. Right. I want to see big cinnamon knocked down a
makes
peg.
You happier. Big cereal, big pharma, the Trump administration. That is my priority list of.
I think you guys are. I think you guys are taking too hard of a stance on big cereal. I don't see them as the bad guy here.
What?
I mean, how many?
Well, we got a big cereal truther. We got Dominic General Mills himself.
I'm a shill. How many bowls of joy have they delivered to thousands, hundreds of thousands of kids out there? I mean,
that's not a bad point. I mean,
are you talking about the joy of taking insulin twice a day? Is that what you're talking about?
They are probably up there with enjoy Coca-Cola diabetes killing. Like the amount of people killed by these two companies alone beats Philip Morris any day of the week. But we don't need to talk about that. They could be a sponsor in 6 months. We don't.
Okay, throw up my screen real quick because I found the exchange with some pictures. Okay, so this is his response after further investigation with my eyes. These are cinnamon coated shrimp tails. So why are you trying to gaslight me? So we get another angle. They're clearly shrimp tails. Okay, so we're wondering like, what the fuck? So now we have someone, Cinnamon Toast Crunch has reached out to him. So we would like to also send you some General Mills vouchers for this unpleasant experience. If that's okay with you, we'll send them right away. It's like, guys. So
you think this is a bot that's responding?
This is what makes me really sad. I actually was talking about this with my roommate last night, and she pulled up this hilarious response. It was like someone responded to the Cinnamon Toast Crunch social media team specifically, and they were like, "You guys, this is not your problem. Like, there are entire PR and crisis management teams in General Mills that are responsible for handling this. Like, you are not being paid to figure the fuck out why there are shrimp tails in this guy's thing. It's like, you just need to stop responding and let like the people whose job that is handle it. And it's not even like you're doing a bad job handling it. It's like, this is not your responsibility.
Yeah,
like, you're getting paid like $50K to like run their Twitter. So
honestly, the social media people should have just been like, "Hey, bro, that's funny. That's pretty funny about the shrimp tails.
Yeah,
that's sick, dude."
Yeah,
What
it's
are you
Shrimp
talking about?
Saturday.
Later.
Shrimp Saturday. Yeah, whoa. Yeah, I mean, the second they respond, it makes it real, right? If they didn't respond, anybody would have just said, "This guy's pulling a goof."
Yeah.
But
And I'm sorry, like the response that looks, upon further inspection of the pictures, that's not a shrimp tail. That reeks of like a junior social media manager person. And I'm not making fun of a junior social media manager person. This is something I would do. Thinking, okay, like this is probably the best response because like I asked like our QA manager correspondent and they said this happens often. So I'm going to try throwing this out.
Right.
It's not your job, you know? This is a big one. This is a food safety issue. Crustaceans are a food allergen. Like this is a big deal.
It's actually good.
Right.
There's a good lesson.
Dude, I didn't even think about that. That's like there are people who are very allergic
shellfish.
to shellfish. Wow. Damn.
It's a good lesson in like arguing. I mean, if somebody shows you a rock and they're like, "This is a rock," and then the other person's like, "No, it isn't."
Yeah.
You're like, "Well, yeah, it is," and they're like, "Nope, it's definitely not." And that's essentially what they're doing here. It's like, don't make a fight out of this. Just say,
I'm like, you're gaslighting me right now. Like, now I'm mad.
And now you're fired up.
I also think that there's something very
poetic.
Politics. I mean,
this is politics in a nutshell too. Like,
it is politics. You're actually right. But I do like. I mean, there is the shrimp tails as the thing too. It's a very funny item. You know, like there's a lot of things.
It's really funny.
If it was a nail, or if it was like, you know, there's a lot of things that you'd be like, dude, that's fucked up. But shrimp tails, you're kind of like, that's very funny.
And like a Band-Aid wouldn't be as funny, and a nail wouldn't be as funny. Even like a sock wouldn't be that funny.
No,
but man, shrimp tails just hit. It just hits.
People started asking, like, how would this even happen? Like, General Mills doesn't have a shrimp product, from what we can tell. Like, would they even be in the same plant? Probably not. So the reigning theory here is that a bunch of rats and vermin created a nest inside this box of Cinnamon Toast Crunch cereal.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah, that makes sense.
Because it's likely with the dental floss, the rat shit, they like to make nests out of weird stuff. And then the shrimp tails could have been food that they brought in from like literally a garbage can and munched on in bed.
Yes, and that could have happened in the shipping after it left the factory. They could have brought all that in.
They're like, this probably happened at like Costco or something.
We are an extremely pro rat podcast. So
yes, we are. But we respect the rat.
Frankly, I say both the guy and Cinnamon Toast Crunch need to fucking leave a better home for rats. I think the unhoused rats are getting shoved out of the General Mills factories.
Oh, so you're saying
where to go, and I don't think that's fair.
No,
you're saying the unhoused rat. This is an unhoused rat political proposition. You're saying General Mills has done too good of a job at moving the rats out, so they need to provide low income shelters for the rats or something to that effect.
Yeah,
that's exactly what I'm saying. That's
exactly. I think that's exactly why we wanted to do this episode.
Or get a few cats hanging around, but then you're gonna have catnip in the boxes of cereal. You're gonna have cat shit. And, like, you know, nature is not that easy to change. You know.
So this is where the internet starts getting like, huh?
Right.
Wait a minute.
So this is a multi-chaptered story, right? So chapter 1, there's shrimp. There's shrimp tails. Shrimp tails in my Cinnamon Toast Crunch box, and people go, "What? Crazy, right?"
Yeah, people go, "This is a quintessential American story." Until.
quintessential. This
until
is we hooked him, and then now chapter 2 is Topanga. Right?
Topanga. So he posts a follow up and he's like, okay, guys, my wife has a stronger stomach than me. She's going to go check the other box. That's when she finds the shit. She finds the dental floss. But that's also when people are like, your wife looks a lot like Topanga. They start looking. It is Topanga. Topanga fucking Lawrence, aka what's her real name? Danielle Fishel.
Danielle Fishel.
She is married.
Everybody that is roughly somewhere between probably 30 and 36 all experience puberty through Topanga Lawrence, right?
Yep. So
yep. That's why I'm into huge hair today.
And especially like internet wise, like let's be honest, everybody, or at least half, and I'm saying at least because it's very likely more than half, at least half the population of the people interested in the story were in love with Topanga, you know? Yeah, so like now they're hooked. So
totally. And she did no wrong, dude. Like
no
she was
wrong.
like,
yeah,
like on Boy Meets World, she was an angel. Everybody loved her. She was like the only girl on the whole thing. So she was like the kind of like constant foil to everything. Like she was the logic to fucking
fantastic.
You know, like all the to Sean's shenanigans, and Mr. Feeney loved her. Yeah, it's the whole fucking thing. So like, everybody's
this is a good thing. Oh, sorry.
Go
ahead.
Exactly.
Philip J. Fry just has a hot joke on the side.
Very
spicy. The guy's name Carp and her name is Fishel. What? And there's a shrimp
issue.
What?
Something fishy is going on.
Yeah, this does feel like a red herring.
This is definitely Cecil Hotel material. You know.
Yep.
Or it feels like a boy in the well kind of a thing, you know?
Yeah,
right, 100%.
Very much so. So people were like, okay, this is all wild. Okay, we're loving it. This is like, here's the dental floss they found, or not dental floss. It looks like it might just be a little piece of twine. Some shits inside and on the cinnamon toast crunch.
Well, that's just cute little mouse shit right there.
Yep. Oh, there's some dental floss. Like, this is nasty. Nasty.
I'm wondering if there was a puncture in the bag. I mean, that would kind of tell us everything we need to know.
Yeah, right?
Yep.
So this is disgusting. So it looks like they got into this bag of dry mix and they nested. So that's pretty cool. So that's chapter 2, guys. Like, what the hell? We got shrimp. We got Topanga. We got this funny situation. We have a guy who's being pretty cool about it. He's not like saying, I'm going to go to the lawyers and I've got emotional distress, all the shit. He's being kind of just doing it for the laughs.
We got carp, we got Fishel, we got shrimp.
We got shrimp.
Yeah, there are absolutely some less friendly characters in our world who would very quickly turn on Cinnamon Toast Crunch. We got a lawsuit. We got the hot coffee for $1 million on my lap situation, right? I mean, we do have I didn't even think about the allergy to shellfish. Like that's actually like a real fucking problem, and Cinnamon Toast Crunch should be like should absolutely be like trying to off this guy to keep him quiet, because that's like very, very scary territory. I've
had a similar experience to this in college. Before we get into chapter 3, I went to the store, Safeway. I bought a Gatorade, large corporation, very large, deep pockets.
Huge.
Deep pockets.
Owned by the government, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
It's a multinational. Okay. That means multiple governments.
Wow.
I opened the Gatorade. I took a sip and I saw something floating in the bottom. It was like a lump. It looked like a hairball, a lump or something. And what it probably was some bacteria was in there and it grew. And it was like a lump of mold about the size of a golf ball. I was so poor and such a loser, I kept it in my refrigerator, and it was essentially my backup plan. I was going to take it and sue them for probably trillions. And this was the proof. And I had it in my refrigerator for like 2 or 3 weeks. and I wasn't quite sure when I was going to strike, when I was going to go present this to Big Gatorade. And then like a roommate like just chucked it out one day because they were cleaning the fridge, and my
You're
whole
like, that was my nest
my life
egg!"
savings, my nest egg. No.
Oh, that was what I was gonna retire on.
So I could totally relate.
That sucks, man. I am so sorry. I had a similar thing happen to me one time. I went to a gas station with my mom in high school, and it was nighttime. And I was like, I'm gonna go in and get a chocolate. So I went in. I got a Nestle turtle.
Wait, hold on. Look, can you give me that impression again of dog boobs getting a chocolate?
Oh my! I'm gonna get a chocolate. High school dog boobs.
You were a sassy
Very.
I love
So I went in. I got these Nestle turtles, which I'm a fan of turtles. You guys, they're basically pecans, caramel, chocolate on top. And Nestle
Right.
had like 2 turtles in like a thing. Nestle turtles, they're a thing. Hadn't seen them before, but they were a thing. So I get in the car with my mom. It's nighttime. We're going home, and I decide I'm going to crunch into it for the first time, on the way. And I'm like, it's good. It's kind of dry though, but it's still good. I say.
Mm-hmm.
When we get home, I look inside it. There are a bunch of dry moths.
Amazing.
Yeah.
A family. You ate a family of moths.
Yes, dry dead moths. And I
you
literally ate some, and I was like, "It's good. It just is a little dry.
It's a little chalky in my mouth." Yeah.
You just desecrated the tomb of an entire family.
Yep, they're Nestle turtles.
Utter desecration.
This is crazy, though, you guys. The gas station guy tried to gaslight me too, because I went back there the next day because my mom and I were big into like, okay, if this happened, like the right thing to do is like go tell him those are expired.
The right thing to do is bring your attorney. You march down there.
Yes.
A group of suits. Yeah.
Yes. And go like get the paperwork in order. Like go check into a mental health thing tonight because of how disturbing it was. Like you need to plan.
Yeah. Put a neck brace on, get a wheelchair, and you roll your ass in there.
And like I literally went in and I wasn't looking for anything other than just like I wanted to tell you that there are moths inside of the Nestle turtles so that you can take them off your shelf. And he was like, no, there aren't. And I'm like, you didn't even look inside. And I'm telling you, there are moths inside. Like, I'm not trying to get you in trouble, sir. I'm trying to help you to not sell these to anybody else because you might not sell a dead moth to such a nice person next time.
And I mean, I feel like the idea of you going to the gas station employee as the representative of the Nestle Corporation was probably like
slash Arco, right?
Idea. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a valuable lesson. I'm like,
excuse me, sir, can you please put me in touch with the president of Nestle, please?
Or Chevron or any of the companies that run this establishment.
We did send an email to Nestle with pictures and they sent us coupons, but their response was that we don't even make Nestle turtles anymore. We sold the turtle property to a different company like 10 years ago. So I'm of course they're expired.
We stopped making these 14 years ago.
It wasn't even their fault, probably. It was the gas station. I mean, those were 10-year-old turtles.
I mean, quite frankly, we might be running into some interesting conspiracy theory stuff because I mean, there is a whole world where you hear about like insurance companies being like, oh, we don't own your insurance. Actually, they own your insurance, and you go over there and they go, no, we don't own it either, man. Like we sold that to somebody else. Like who owns my insurance? And like so, there's maybe a world where people are going like, oh, none of us make our own stuff to avoid lawsuits. We sold the rights to that, and then you like eventually go to the place where it is, and it's just like one guy in like an empty fucking warehouse, just being like, "Oh yeah, like I technically make them all, but like somebody else makes them all, but like yeah, I'm the owner. What do you need?" Right?
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And so, there's I definitely think.
Hey, sounds like a typical Shell company. By Shell, I mean Shrimp Tail. You know what I mean?
Oh shit! And by Tiffany Jessica stories. Okay, Dr. Spachemin has asked dog boobs whenever the Tiffany Jessica stories getting released. I think they're talking about the Kelly Chronicles.
Yeah,
the Kelly Diaries. The extremely racist Kelly Diaries.
Yeah,
this feels like a chronicle of the Kelly Chronicles.
It definitely does. But
the time Kelly ate moths.
When we're talking about cancel culture, I would need to redact 80% of the Kelly Chronicles to not be canceled.
Now this will
Like-
be
I'm-
this will be how you get canceled.
It would like, and I'm not
It will
saying
be
I
our-
was like
it will be our
purposely
swan
making
song.
offensive
Yeah.
like action figure movies, but when you look at what you made as a 10-year-old child, you're like, fuck, I was an ignorant piece of shit.
Didn't you
10-year-old.
have? I mean, again, you were 10 years old, but didn't you have one of the characters? Wasn't his name like Wong Chinaman or something like that?
No, it was not. It
was-
was
Yes, it was. You had
It was
a ridiculous
Beppo.
name like
Beppo.
Beppo. Beppo Chang.
Beppo Chang.
Beppo Chang, yeah.
You guys,
Which
I'm
is
like turning red because I'm so horrified by my behavior.
If you marry I think Prince Philip, which we all expect you to,
Yeah.
who's 100,
so I can
and you
kill him and his
and you
slave.
get famous, this is gonna be what comes out about
Yeah.
you. That takes
See,
you back down.
I've got
Oh,
VHS tapes in my
thrilled.
apartment that I swear if somebody were to break in and take them and release them, I'd be fucked.
We got to put them
I
on
absolutely
YouTube.
Love it.
They sound
I
amazing.
saw the greatest. You guys are up to speed on this whole Prince Philip thing, by the way, right? About
That he's
about him
104?
looking like a crypt keeper.
Yes. How it's like
He looks
we're
so
all worried
old.
about- we're all worried
Oh,
about they like all the royal family's worried about what little like baby Archie is gonna look like when he comes out. It's like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, it's good to get some fresh blood in here. Look at fucking this guy over here. He looks
Oh,
like
yeah,
he's
he's-
a living, walking, dying mummy.
He's the oldest man, and I saw this amazing tweet. I'm gonna have to try to figure out if I can pull it up. But it was literally like I mean, I can just sum it up, but the tweet was can we get Prince Philip on Hot Ones? Which I think it's just the
Fuck
funniest.
yeah.
I like can't stop thinking about that tweet because I'm just like the idea of Prince Philip going on Hot Ones is so funny.
An old person trying to navigate a chicken wing with hot sauce is the funniest thing I've ever heard.
I am
dude,
obsessed.
So funny. All right, so
before
we gotta
dip
end
into- Yeah, before we dip
have-
into chapter 3, do we want to talk about
our
Yes.
second
Other
sponsor. That's actually a good
sponsor?
idea. I mean, we are talking about scary stuff. We're talking about shrimp tails. We're talking
Shrimp
about
tails.
Prince Philip's like living animated corpse. We're talking about fucking big pharma, right? All of
I mean,
those
it's
things are pretty
fucking
goddamn
scary.
horrifying.
This next product will be perfect for Prince Philip. I feel
perfect
like.
for Prince Philip? Okay, you guys, it's let's be real. If there's something you don't know about little old me, it's that I am gonna kill it in 2021. As soon as 2020 ended, okay, I took a good look in the rearview mirror and I said, F you guys. For me, it's all about self-care and love in 2021, which means I'm going to focus on being happy and feeling relaxed. And mental clarity is the first step to my better life, which is why I've been taking down Sunday Scaries CBD gummy bears like candy. Am I right or am I wrong? When my mind starts
overdose on 'em.
racing or I
Can't
need to
overdose on 'em.
decompress, you cannot overdose on CBD gummies. When my mind starts racing or I need to decompress, I pop 2 gummies. 20 minutes later, I'm in full-blown relax mode. I'm in like part of my couch. So there's no risk to buy. The company offers like 100% lifetime money back guarantee. If the product's not for you, you take it. You're not feeling relaxed. You're going off the wall for some weird reason. It's okay. You can get your money back. Sunday Scaries is like in the stress relieving business and not the stress causing business. So if it's stressing you out, that this isn't working, send it back. They want you to just take the chill pill. Okay. So to prove that we want you guys to be as badass as me in 2021, we got you a 25% off coupon for Sunday Scaries CBD gummies. So if you go to sundayscaries.com and use my promo code Reddit for your discount, it's promo code Reddit, REDDIT.
We've made
Can't
it.
believe we're at this
25% off.
point.
I know. That we used to make up fake codes, you guys. This one will work.
We used to make up fake codes. I mean, listen though, quite frankly, so Sunday Scaries, get it, put in Reddit. Also, go to True Swords. Also, try Reddit. We don't know.
Who knows?
We don't know.
Yeah.
So,
we don't know how that works.
And guys, check it out. They sent us, which I will give to you, some samples. Sunday Scary sent us some tincture. Look at that. CBD with B12 and D3, 500 milligrams. And then a hat, a really cool hat, which I will be wearing.
Oh, I love. They've got a really cool logo, which actually, when I was looking at it yesterday, I was like, we should maybe redesign ours.
They sent
But
us
ours
these
is
cool
beautiful,
gummies,
too.
and then
Yeah.
they sent these unicorn jerky, which
Damn.
is
Unicorn
rainbow
jerky.
candy for chilling, and it's got CBD, and there's 10 pieces, and it's look at
Wow.
that, very cool.
Okay.
Let me just
adorable.
open up the imagination box for a second. Is anybody doing CBD beef jerky right now?
I mean,
We
it sounds
are
like
now.
it's a joke. Is it candy flavored?
Yeah, that's like a gummy. It's like
All
a
right.
gummy style that is in the shape of jerky, I think.
So use Reddit at checkout to get 25% discount. Also, Sunday Scaries executives, right, of the CBD industry, of the CBD lobby, big CBD. I'm just gonna float this by you really fast. I'm talking CBD beef jerky. We're talking lemon pepper. We're talking teriyaki.
Oh!
A little bit of CBD. You can also call it Sunday Scaries.
Mhm.
It's up to you. You can take it's a
Some of
free
us are
idea,
savory people,
right?
you know?
Yeah,
Some of us are
wasabi.
savory people.
Yeah, wasabi jerky CBD.
Wasabi CBD beef jerky.
I mean, listen, if they
Mm.
come out with
That's
that, you'll
good.
know where it came from. They're effing amazing. You won't regret joining the Sunday Scary Squad. Get your
Exactly.
gummies and try it out.
Anyway, all right. So yes, use Reddit at checkout. We're serious. This is a real ad. Use it. You get a discount on Sunday Scaries, which we should all get into. I also do. I actually love CBD, so I'm actually glad that we got this sponsor because I actually do like using it a lot. All right,
Mhm.
moving on. Chapter 3
Chapter 3, you guys.
of shrimp.
So where
carp
have we
fishing.
been? Who wants to recap where we've been in Chapter 1 and Chapter 2?
We opened Cinnamon Toast Crunch. We found some shrimp. We are rat advocates, so there's a rat's home. We're invading the rat's home with our cereal boxes. We shouldn't be in the cereal boxes to begin with. That's the rat's home. Quite
That's
frankly.
where the rat lives.
Where are they
the
supposed to
rats
go?
live.
Where are they supposed to go?
We're an
Yeah.
invasive species. We humans are an invasive species to the rats, is what I like
Exactly.
to say.
Exactly.
Chapter 2. Hold on a second. Your wife, Topanga, from Boy Meets World? She was my childhood crush. What's
Hot.
that like? Tell me what she looks like with
Yeah.
only a shirt on, right?
And everyone's like, okay, if this guy married Topanga, he must be awesome, right?
He must be great. He's a good fella. He fucking performed at Gathering of the Juggalos. He performed at Oxford. He's married to Danielle Fishel. What a life this guy lives.
On paper, we would totally invite him on the pod.
I mean,
Until
in practice, we still might. We don't know. But okay. Chapter 3.
Chapter 3, you guys.
This feels like
Guess
a
what
Hollywood
comes out?
story.
If you were to make a guess, he comes out as an abusive fucking boyfriend. This is real. In the span of 3 days, Jensen Karp, aka Cinnamon Toast Shrimp Man, went from being this funny guy who's married to Topanga, who found a bunch of garbage in his cereal, to an abuser. So after all of this shit happens, this is what happens here. You've got a lot of posts. Jensen Karp's a writer, so there were a lot of articles coming out, like what you may or may not know about the man behind these shrimp posts. Like, he's actually a writer.
God.
He's married to Topanga. Like, just reasons to write dumb articles. And
Right.
this Stephanie Mickus responds, ha 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 ha. My quickly deleted subtweet yesterday to the question, what you may or may not know about the man behind the viral post. Melissa, let me start. Melissa Stetton says, what? Like he's a manipulative, gaslighting, narcissistic ex-boyfriend who once told me he was surprised I hadn't killed myself because my life was so worthless?
Jesus
It
Christ.
to be fair to him, it sounds like most writers I know.
You're like, this is not surprising.
He's kind of a douche, really cocky, sort of a ass to be around. Okay, this
Right.
tracks. This tracks.
Let me tell you, let us know if this sounds like a typical writer in LA too. Haha, my quickly deleted subtweet yesterday said, oh no, I can't follow the latest viral saga because I was blocked in 2014 because I was not gracious enough after a surprise threesome, but not before I was told to be careful or I would never work in this town again.
Whoa!
That is that phrase is just satire. Dude.
Never
been-
work in this town again?
Hey, you're never gonna work in this town again.
You're never going to work in this town again.
I think it is a real threat,
Right.
which is how so much baloney goes on in this business. But I do say that to people 17 times a day. Has not worked.
Right.
I have no power and no leverage.
They never
Right.
feed you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's rude. So then this person kind of ups the ante here. I mean, already telling someone you thought they would have killed themselves because their life's so worthless is pretty fucking abusive. But this person, Rory Uphold, says, I ended up in the hospital. It took me a year to recover mentally, and I still struggle. The number of women who DM'd me, Stephanie Mikas, with stories today, let alone the ones I have known about for years and talked to about our shared experiences. Oh, Lord.
Holy tits. Dude.
Yes.
Whoa.
So this is Brittany Nichols, who is a woman of color and a writer. She says the way things worked is we would write couplets. The best of would get assembled into a battle. Then he would essentially destroy what we'd written by rewriting lines with the same premise as our jokes, yet worse. He routinely replaced lines about Black celebrities with couplets about how they just looked like other Black celebs that they did not at all resemble. I expressed discomfort with this several times, but again, he never spoke to us, so I had to shuffle this through the head writer.
Well,
Not sure what.
Like
this was for.
right?
This was
This
for
is
Drop
interesting.
the Mic,
Drop the Mic.
season 2 celebrity rap battle
Right.
series.
So this
This
is where I get a little like the energy is weird because it goes from like actually horrible sexual abuser to like bad boss and not a good
Ellen
like,
stuff.
Yeah, like bad, just like a bad writer, right? Which is like they're not the same thing. You know what I mean? Like I don't like want to conflate the two because if it started with like this guy sucks. He used to take our lines and change them. They'd be like, ooh, maybe a little bit racist.
Yes,
like, maybe a little bit racist, or just like a bad writer who thought his jokes were better than other jokes.
Yeah.
Right?
But that's every story from every TV show.
Right.
I mean, some version of that. It sounds so familiar.
Had this happen to me
take.
though.
Hot Reddit take. Wow.
So wait, Dad, what was I feel like you had a butt coming there.
Well, I don't think there's a but as much as there was a we talked a little bit about like the hive mind of the internet all ganging up this week for some strange reason.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where there's a little bit of a like and again, I'm not there is a victim within this the story from Brittany Nichols as well, but it feels a little bit like this person was deeply sexually and trauma and psychologically abusive. And then like the next one is like, yeah, and he didn't like my jokes and he
stole my
changed
jokes.
things. I'm like, well,
I see what you mean. I would say that
sort of lessons one.
This is almost kind of like
the
way I see it is a reckoning for his character as a person, and like this stuff that's coming out about emotional abuse in relationships and all that is so serious and like psychologically damaging. But for like a writer and a woman of color to be like, and the sad thing is, yes, it happens all the time, but like doesn't make it less horrible. No. And she probably saw this come out and was like, God, I've hated this guy because of how racist and shitty he was when I worked with him. Why wouldn't I tell people about how racist and shitty he was when I worked with him when all this other shit's coming out?
Yeah, it's really tricky because you're basically just ragging on him for being a douche.
Right.
Did he physically abuse anybody?
Unclear. Definitely emotionally.
Right. Okay,
and
so
psychological.
Well, I mean, I hear literally thousands of stories like this, specifically about Hollywood, but I'm sure it's a lot of industries where whoever's in power is a douche. I mean, but
totally.
I don't know if that's a crime. I mean, I know it's not a crime, actually.
Like to think like for someone who is a person of color, I don't know what it would feel like to them, as a white person.
No,
so
definitely,
I don't know. But I mean, that might be.
But that's not about this. This isn't a race conversation, isn't it? About an abuse.
Well, the race conversation seems to be brought in with Brittany saying that he told her, or she told him, or tried to like run up the chain that like this type of behavior in the workplace was not comfortable, and that's still a workplace, and it's still harassment if you're making someone feel unsafe or unvalued in the workplace because of their race or because of this. So I can see how like
I think this is where so Blaustein, Philip J. Fry kind of gets the like gray area of the physical abuse with like the unexpected threesome with threats of losing work hits
That's
at
a great
definitely
point.
gray area.
That's a great point.
I agree with that. And I think my thing with this is just a little like I think that everybody's entitled to obviously bring this stuff up. One thing that I found kind of strange about these, actually, quite frankly, and I don't know if it was just because of the ones they chose, but everybody who had brought something up had a blue check mark. They were all verified on Twitter. So they were all like people of privilege and power in the world in which they represent, which I was kind of like, oh, weird. That's interesting. That's like I don't know. I don't really know what it means necessarily, but it does speak to a little bit of like maybe this guy is either well known in the Hollywood circles as being a predatory person. Maybe he's just a douchebag, and these people are kind of, it's a well-documented like workplace douchebag type thing. I don't really know. I mean, but it definitely was like, so I saw this, in the Out of the Loop, kind of going back to the Out of the Loop, by the way, when it was talking about everything that happened. There's something actually called milkshake duck. Like milkshake duck is kind of like an internet phenomenon, which I thought was really interesting. So this is where milkshake duck comes in here. This refers to a joke made by Pixel Boat. Right, the whole internet loves milkshake duck, a lovely duck that drinks 5 milkshakes. 5 seconds later, we regret to inform you the duck is racist. Right, and so. Perfect. Yeah, so this is like a thing that happens on the internet. This is not the first time we've seen this, where somebody will like a person who initially harms the internet and then they turn out horrible, right? I mean, I think another version of this that actually kind of backtracked or not backtracked, but
I don't know if
was Ken Bone, right? Like Ken Bone, this kind of thing happened where people were just like, we love Ken Bone, and then they're just like, beautiful human submarines, what a perv, and everybody's just like, no. Ken Bone's awesome. That's not a bad thing. What are you talking about, right? And so it's a little bit of like people dig shit up, and then all of a sudden you get in trouble for it, right?
But here's like what's interesting about it to me is like, is this guy a real racist or a douche? Like, and there's this like sliding scale where it's like someone gets famous for something cute, milkshake duck, then all of a sudden. We tend to like to tear people apart when they get famous for these things because that's just what we do. That's our thing.
Hollywood is also an extremely jealous place. Like people do not handle other people they know getting popular, right? Yeah,
but not just Hollywood, all humans, right?
Yeah,
totally.
It's one of the 7 deadly sins, right? So we put him up, then we tear him down, and then someone says, and he's racist, and then everyone goes, now he's a sexual abuser, which I don't know if he's ever done that.
Milkshake duck, he did.
Based on what we've read,
right.
And then he took out one of my jokes, and now I'm black, and so now he's racist. Throwing around racism is like a heavy word. It's like, I don't know if
very
that's
damning thing, right?
So now he's a sexual abuser and a racist, and I don't know if you can make those things for real stick, but my point is he quickly gets in those buckets. So you take him from here, and now he's the 2 worst things we have in society, a racist and a pedophile, all in like 4 steps. And you kind of go like, well, geez, is he really like a big threat? And that seems to be like the path we've designed now in the last couple of years. Like that's where we take people. And then you sort of destroy his situation. And then in a couple of years, in 6 months, nobody will remember him. And it's like, he'll be trying to get a job on a Disney show or something. And his life could be ruined. It's weird. I guess the point is like, people are just really, it's reactionary now. Like this mechanism is just how we do things now, which is,
it's like, I'm like, I think like Blaustein actually was it Blaustein or Dr. Spichemin? Dr. Spichemin brought up a really good point here too, that I think you had it up for a second, that it's really hard in creative spaces, especially with comedy, to start to, and I think that is so true. And it shouldn't stop us from trying to make these places more safe and inclusive, obviously. But I watch a lot of Below Deck on Bravo. And I've thought about that too, because it's so hard to define this behavior in yachting as well. And let me tell there's so much fucking boning behind the scenes in yachting, and like when people like
Yeah.
rich guests like sexually harass stewardesses and stuff, there's not much you can do. So like
No.
it's true to say, it is true to say like it's way more complicated in certain industries to try to figure
Right.
out how to address that behavior.
Yeah, and I think that this is just it. It's very it's challenging for a variety of reasons. You know, again, like this is kind of just something that happened, good or bad. I think that the more I think about the everybody has a blue check mark on their name thing, I think the
It's
more
interesting.
that I
Yeah.
actually am a little bit suspect of it, because it becomes then there's a very clear incentive for
Yeah.
blasting someone because you earn industry points, you earn
Social credit.
internet credibility, social
Yeah.
credit. So it actually does. If it was anonymous people that weren't figures, then there's a little bit like there's maybe a little bit less, right? But
And do
yeah,
blue check
it's an
marks,
odd
if
one.
you have a blue check mark, are you like, does the algorithm boost your visibility? I mean, I'm gonna assume it does. Like
Right.
versus somebody with no check mark. Like when you have a check mark, I think it kind of makes you like a 2-star general in the army versus like a foot
Yeah.
soldier. And so
Right.
you have more leverage and more power, so you can control the podium a little bit longer, and so you can actually affect opinions more, and you also have something to lose too. So if you say something that's inflammatory, you could lose the check mark. So you're kind of in this position of power. You're right. I never thought about it like that, but
Yeah, and so this is
really
actually
weird.
a very good. So by the way, really quickly, just again, if everybody is, if you're just listening right now and you're not on the stream, that's fine. We're a podcast. That's what it's made for. But I do want to really quickly shout out everybody that's kind of been engaging: Shia LaDouche, Blaustein, Philip J. Fry, Yell Twin, Dr. Spakaman. Anybody else I'm missing? We're actually having a really engaging, really kind of thoughtful discussion about these things in the chat as well, and I deeply appreciate you guys doing that, because I actually really love this format for doing so, because this is like Blaustein brings up an interesting point about the check marks, right? Which is, it's difficult because without these people being in the spotlight, victims tend to be ignored and won't speak out with fear of being ignored. When they're in the spotlight, people feel empowered to speak out but appear to be piling on. I agree with that, and I think that like any of these things, I think there's an interesting kind of pendulum or a I don't know, like a spectrum of incentives, of motivations. There's a lot of complicated issues with this, and I do think that there's like it sounds like this guy is actually a dickhead, right? Like I think that's kind of like
that feels clear. He doesn't sound like a cool guy.
No.
However, the one caveat I will also put on this, which I think is really important and something that we categorically do not do well. I was actually talking to my girlfriend about this last night, about how a lot of people talk about this, how the American prison system, and almost it feels like the American prison system is the maxed version of this phenomenon we have in America, where like when you do something wrong, you do not ever become innocent again, right?
Right.
And that is actually rare in
our
world. Right? Where if like go to Norway, you commit a crime in Norway, you do your time, you're a normal citizen again, right? In America, you never get voting rights again. You have to live under a bridge. You can't do any of these things, right? And so I think that we have a little bit of that with the way we view culture, right? Like we don't know I don't know what this guy's like now, right? He's eating Cinnamon Toast Crunch. He like either is going through maybe hard times, he has children. Like we don't know what his life is, or he's just like a fun adolescence, right?
And the fucking thing about the fucking thing about both of those scenarios is then what do you do after? Like what happens to those people after prison who cannot rejoin society? What happens to people like this who cannot ever get a job again? They live under the freeway. Like right? Like you're setting up a situation where you have a shitload of people who cannot participate. So it's like, well, then what are they going to do? They're going to do something.
What do they matter? Who are they? And I think that this is
fucking Hammer, dude.
It looks like we're not going to get the chance to talk about Army. We're going to have to revisit it another time, because we did talk about it once, but I think that we're developing story. But
maybe we do another pod about it, like a full deep dive.
Okay. We do need to talk about Army Hammer next week.
Yeah, we'll briefly bring up Army Hammer, but really to close the loop on this, because I know we're at 9:00, so we're gonna have to end this shortly. But we don't know what Josh Karp or whatever this guy's name is like now. We just know what he used to be like. Used to be and current could be the same thing, but there is such thing as relative redemption, in my opinion. I do believe that, like, you can have been a dickhead, you can have made mistakes, and then you go like, man, I fucked up, I was bad, I'm so sorry.
It's
Right?
such an important idea that we never
Yeah.
talk about or consider, and it's weird.
And I think that's the thing that that's the thing I look at both of these stories that we talked about today, where I kind of go, how does time factor into the way that we think about the way that people are judged in our world? And I don't really know the answer to that. I mean, I know that, like, everybody did things when they were young where they're just like, fucking wish I didn't do that, right? And
Mark Wahlberg beat a man's eye out with a stick, and everyone loves him. What's up with that?
Yeah, what the fuck's up with that?
But
I want to start a list of people that will be canceled in the future who are not canceled yet.
But that is an interesting thing, is because, like, there is a world where that will come out and people will be like, and then all of a sudden he will be canceled, and you're like, we've known about this for a long time. Why are we now bringing up Mark Wahlberg as a cancel thing? And it's just, for some reason,
dude, vampires got to suck blood, dude.
Latch onto it. Yeah. So I hope that I hope that all the people that felt abused by Jensen Karp get some sort of closure and in some sort of redemption with it. But I also hope that Jensen Karp is a better person now. And I hope that him being a better person now allows for him to fix some of the issues. So, time
to take some accountability, issue some apologies, and be authentic.
Yeah, say like, hey, I was a douche until the birth of my fourth rat. Then I changed everything.
First three,
I still was a douche. Yeah,
but that fourth rat, Ben. The Michael Jackson song, let's not forget.
Let's not forget it. And this is I'm gonna end on this Blaustein quote, because I think this is actually a pretty good one. I think the defining factor is honest, positive change and a consistent pattern of positive behavior. Right.
Well said.
Yeah, maybe the guy was snorting a bunch of blocaine and drinking whiskey all day. Like people. People have fucked up.
Culture changes, people change, a lot of things change. Actually, you know what? Let me take that back. I'm going to end on this Blaustein quote, actually. Not that one, this one. And then my rat dropped those darn shrimp tails in my cereal.
And we've gone full circle.
That's it. That's the quote we will end this fella on. All right. Well, thank you all for listening or watching. God bless all of you. I love our fans. I love our friends.
We have a tight squad.
Go to Sunday Scaries, type Reddit and check out. But quite frankly, go to any site, type Reddit and check out. We don't know.
Why not?
We literally don't know. So,
woo!
But do get Sunday Scaries. I think they're great. I love CBD stuff. We will be back next week. This is Did You Reddit, a weekly podcast about the internet by way of Reddit, the front page of the internet. My name is It's Your Dad.
I'm Dog Flakes.
Bye, Free Day. In the studio.
Here with Dr. Spakaman, Shia LaDouche, Philip J. Fry, aka Blaustein, Yeltwin. Who else we got? Anybody else chilling with us today?
I think that was our team today.
That was our squad. That was our team of crackpot researchers. So
yes.
Cool
thank
squad.
You again.
Thank you guys. Thank you for listening in. That was awesome.
Grind that poll, smoke that mug,
check that bowl of cereal.
Check that bowl of cereal. check your cinnamon.
Expect your cereal before you just start pouring.
Yeah.
Buy swords. Don't stab your family.
We're not responsible if you do.
Hurt yourself. Kill yourself. Instill positive change, no matter what you do.
And shrimp that tail.
Shrimp that tail. Smoke that bowl. All right. See you guys later.
Bye.